Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm an advisor on the SRA Hub. Today we're going to be learning about summer melt and what you can do to tackle summer melt. So let me share my screen and then we'll get started. All right, so summer melt. So we're going to learn how to tackle summer melt. So we're going to learn about what it is, what you have to do as a senior between now and when you start college to make sure that you don't fall victim to summer melt, and also learn how to overcome something we call freshman fear. So this is a really shocking statistic. Across the country, do you guys know that about 10 to 40% of students who have committed to go into college don't actually end up enrolling in the fall? That's a pretty shocking percentage, and a lot of times it happens to first generation students as well as low income students. So because we don't want that to happen to you, we're going to use this webinar to hopefully teach you guys some strategies. So this phenomenon is known as summer melt. So basically what it means is, seniors like you or community college students like you who have been accepted to college, they already committed by May 1st yesterday, but something happens over the summer where, they fail to take the necessary steps that they need to take, or they realize they can't afford college, so they don't actually begin in the fall. So the first strategy is to make sure you're connected. So that means you want to stay on top of campus communication. So feel free to take notes if you guys want. We're going to go over a lot of information today. So what it means to stay on top of your campus communication means you want to keep checking your portal every day as well as your email. Sometimes that means checking your spam folder every so often so that important information and messages from the colleges don't get lost. So check your portal and your email every single day. You want to put important reminders and dates and deadlines on your calendar. So either if you guys use Google Calendar, that's great. If you guys use a calendar on your phone, or if you guys use like a physical agenda where you write things down, whatever works for you, just make sure they're all in one place and that you constantly refer to it so you don't miss any deadlines. We also have a SRA Hub Summer Melt Organizer that I can show you guys a little later that you guys can use. Make sure to sign up as well as attend college orientation. So college orientation usually happens over the summer. Sometimes it's in person. Sometimes it happens, the first week of school. It's a little different for different colleges, so make sure to do your research. Make sure to go because a lot of times that's where you learn a lot of information to make sure you're successful in college, and also where you register for your classes. If your school has a summer bridge program, which is basically a program during the summer before you start school, definitely look into it, apply, and go. A lot of times, depending on the program, it might be free for you to just, get to campus early, live in a dorm, start taking classes so that you don't fall behind, and it's a great way to start meeting friends. So you can always plan ahead. So you want to get in touch with your college roommate if you're going to live in the dorms and, discuss what you guys plan to bring. So that's what I did when the summer before I started college, and I had 2 roommates. I was in a triple, and which you guys know is probably not very big. So what we did was, instead of, all of us bring a fridge, all of us bring a microwave, we actually communicated so that, one person brings the fridge, one person brings the microwave, etc. So that really helped us a lot in making sure we started our year together on the right foot. Join admitted student Facebook groups for your college is a great way to meet other people and other freshmen who are just starting on campus. You want to get familiar with campus support services. So that means you need to do research on where the tutoring center is. If you guys are an EOP, where the office is. If you guys are a dreamer, see if they have a dreamer center for you guys. Or if you have any accommodations in high school, you can actually bring those to college. So if that's something that you had in high school, look into it for college. A lot of campus also have like counseling centers that offer free counseling to students as part of their tuition. So definitely kind of do a little, print out a map, look at where everything is so that you know exactly before you step onto campus. You want to stay in touch with the hub, so we recommend that you guys log on the hub at least once a day because we actually post daily resources and articles. And we, of course, as you guys know, answer questions within 24 hours. So we're with you guys through college and even as you guys find your first job. So keep in touch with us. Email us if you don't want to, ask a question on the public feed. We'll be happy to help you guys with financial aid, finding a job, whatever it is. So email us and we're here to help. So besides connecting, you want to make sure you're organized. So that's strategy number 2. So understand that this involves money. So when you guys are, gearing up for college, you want to accept your financial aid package. You want to submit your housing application and pay your housing deposit. So this is if you're living in a dorm or an on-campus apartment. You want to submit your enrollment deposit. So basically for a lot of schools, when you guys SIR by yesterday, meaning you guys told the school you're going to attend there, usually, you click accept and they also make you pay some kind of deposit. Maybe it's $100. For other schools, it's a little bit more like $500. So make sure to submit that. For some schools, you're able to defer it, meaning you don't have to pay until later on, like for your, when your first bill comes. So it kind of varies from student to student and school to school. So if you didn't have to pay a deposit or you're like, I don't know if I actually did that, make sure to double check and feel free to call the admissions office at the school. You also want to access your college payment portal. So in your portal, you'll see whether or not you owe fees. So that's why we always say check your portal every day, check your email every day, because what happens is when students don't, they miss deadlines for payment or, applications, and a lot of colleges aren't forgiving. So do that to prevent any kind of issues from making sure you start in the fall. You want to advocate for yourself. I can't tell you guys how many times students, they encounter issues paying their fees. So we always say advocate for yourself. Don't be shy about calling the financial aid office. Don't be shy about emailing them and saying, hey, I'm wondering, maybe I'm low income. I'm wondering if you guys have a fee waiver or a deferment plan. So just ask. It never hurts. If you don't ask, you don't get it. So advocate for yourself. That's so important in college because, in high school, maybe someone was there to hold your hand. But in college, it's all you. So it's good practice to do it over the summer. So this is a little, extra encouragement to advocate for yourself. All right. So like I said, you want to make sure you pay attention to deadlines. So these are some of the questions you want to ask yourself. Do you guys have to take placement tests? Like, do you have to take a math placement test or an English placement test before you can actually pick your classes? So these tests, you just take it. Let's say for a math placement test, you take it and it determines basically which math class you're going to be able to take. And a lot of these tests take place in the summer and before you start. And all the different dates and times and ways you take it is different for different schools. So make sure to do that because a lot of times you can't sign up for classes until you've taken these. You want to know when and how you have to send in your final transcripts. So your final transcripts include your second semester of senior year or your last semester or quarter of community college. So this is something you have to send to the school that you'll be attending. So some schools is July 1st, some schools is July 15th, some schools is counselors who send it, some schools is the whole school district that sends it. So ask your teacher or your counselor when that'll be sent and if you need to do anything to make sure it gets there. So when I was a school counselor, students had to give us the address and name of the school of when to send it or where to send it. So I don't know if that's something you would have to do for your school, but double check. Ask yourself, when is orientation? put it in your calendar. Do you need to submit proof of health insurance or immunization records? So for schools, you can't start until you've gotten certain shots or vaccines. So look up what those are and when they're due and where to send it. Some schools, they require you to pay for the health insurance offered by the school unless you already are covered. So if you are covered or you have health insurance under your parents, for example, or you qualify for Medi-Cal, whatever it is, see if your school can waive it. And in order to waive it, you usually have to show them proof. So you want to do this before school starts so that you're not charged for health insurance, which could be like $2,000 that you save. So look into that. What day is the housing deposit due? Do you know when your class registration date is? So for some colleges, you do it during orientation. For others, they give you a time and a date where you can register, and you have to be online at that time and date. It's not like, oh yeah, they said I can, sign up for classes tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then you do it next week. It doesn't work like that. So, make sure you know when the date is so that you don't miss it. Otherwise, you don't get the classes that you want, and you end up staying in college longer, and then you pay, for college longer, and yada yada. If you're gonna, live in the dorms, make sure to know when move-in day is, right? It's just probably usually like a week before school starts or a couple of days, and plan how you're gonna get there. Are you gonna drive there? So are you local enough where you can drive there? Who's going to drive you there? If you're going to college far away, how are you going to get there? You're going to take the plane, the train, who's going to go with you? So these are all things that you guys can look up right now so that you can prepare June, July, August, so you're not freaking out in August and September and you're like, oh, I had no idea how to do all this. So that's why we share this with you now. So the third strategy is to prepare. So you want to create a dorm shopping list if you're living in the dorm. If you guys don't go on the SRA Hub, we actually have a full shopping list that you guys can use and reference. Get your class textbook list and compare prices on Amazon, Chegg, etc. You don't want to buy your books at the bookstores because usually that's really expensive, and they tend to be like new books, or even if they're used, they tend to be a little higher. So if you know what classes you're going to take, usually they'll, give you a syllabus, which will tell you what textbook that the teacher or professor wants you to use. And then you could just go on Amazon or wherever and compare prices. If you have the syllabus, review it beforehand so that you can, jot down all the midterms you might have or the finals or big assignments. And like I said earlier, get familiar with your campus resources. So EOP, where the advising center is, and the career center. When I look back, I really wished I used a career center more on campus because everything is free. So they'll help you figure out maybe what career to pursue, help you find internship, help you look over your resume and all that. So it's a really great resource that you guys should know from the start and utilize from the start. And enjoy your time with your friends and family, and be prepared to feel a little homesick. It's completely normal, no matter how excited you are to go to college, to feel homesick. So just because you feel homesick doesn't mean, you don't belong in college, or like, oh, I made the wrong mistake. Just know it's something that every student goes through, and to maybe talk to your roommates about it. You can talk to us about it. And my recommendation is to join student clubs, kind of like what you guys do in high school, where you guys join sports or clubs, things that you like. You want to do the same thing in college so that you're just more engaged and you have more fun and you get to meet more people. All right, so in the beginning, I talked about freshman year fears. So it's completely normal to feel a little bit nervous no matter where you're going, how far you're going. So these are some of the common questions that, freshmen ask us. What if I get homesick? What if if I'm not smart enough for college? That's something I definitely felt for a while when I stepped on campus. I was like, oh my God, I feel like everyone else is so smart. Like, I don't know if I belong. It's something that's very common. So if you catch yourself thinking that, just remind yourself that, hey, you applied, they chose you to go there, they believe you can do it. It's something everyone feels, so don't see it as a sign that, you're not good enough. Sometimes people worry about their roommates, like, oh no, what if we don't get along? It's okay if you and your roommates aren't best friends. You just want to make sure you guys are able to cohabitate together. People worry about not making friends, whether or not their significant other at home will forget about them, if they can afford everything with college, or if you're someone who's not sure what you wanted to major in, which was like me, you worry about that because when you feel like everybody else knows what they want to do, or like, it's a whole new school, there's a lot of people, what if I don't fit in? And something that a lot of our students deal with, like, what if my family doesn't understand? Or what if you're a student that has to kind of, leave your family to go to college? So these are completely normal. And ways you guys can overcome these fear is COPE. And COPE stands for connect, which we talk about, right? With your school community, join clubs, know where like the tutoring services are. You want to organize, know when all the important dates and info are, and put it all in one place. So don't put it in your phone and then put it in like your physical agenda or planner. You want everything in one place. You want to prepare and embrace the change and be patient with yourself. College is a big adjustment. It's kind of like when you guys went from middle school to high school. It felt like a whole new world, right? So it's going to feel like that when you move from high school to college or community college to like four-year college. But similar to how you guys adjusted in high school and community college, you'll do the same at a four-year college, or if you guys are going to a community college, same thing. So that's our webinar on tackling summer melt. I know it was a lot of information, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to chat any questions that you have. And while I do that, I'm going to pull up the post survey. So it should pop up, and it's the same questions. So feel free to chat any questions you guys have in the chat box. And then I'll also go over the answers of the survey. Okay. So, what is one possible cause of summer melt? Is it having to go to summer bridge? No, because that's something you want to do. No money to pay for orientation. Talking to your high school counselor after graduation. Checking your portal every day. So the answer is B. One possible cause of summer melt is not having the money to pay for orientation, meaning you don't go to orientation and then maybe you fall behind with registering for classes and all that. But everything else on that list is something you want to do. Number 2, summer melt primarily affects which students? So there's more than one answer. So the answer is students who are the first in their families to go to college and students from low-income communities. Yeah, so if you guys don't have any questions, that's completely cool. Just know that we're on the SRA Hub all the time. So if maybe you think of one, tomorrow or a week from now, or even during the summer, please feel free to email us and we'll gladly help you guys out. Thank you guys so much for joining our webinar today, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.